this live, by the way, or no?
Oh, we're live. In fact, we're live right now. So it's happening.
Live right now. Oh, we're live on the podcast right now.
This is 100% happening. I mean, there's a little delay, but yeah, it's live. Um, so yeah, for anybody who's watching, either hanging out with us right now or listening to this later, we are here, both Josh and myself, with Aaron.
Hi.
Yeah, Aaron from Bat in the Sun. How are you doing, Aaron?
Yeah. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. We're really excited to have you. Unfortunately, there are technical difficulties, so we weren't able to get um, the video working for yourself. Unfortunately, life happens, but at least we can still chat. And um, I guess I'm curious. I mean, are you? We're all as fans just ridiculously excited for Saturday. How are you feeling?
Excited. I mean, the series has been a long time coming, and it's done, ton of work has been put into it. It's basically a feature film that's been divided up over 6 episodes. So it totals about 75 minutes or 78 minutes in its runtime, something like that. It's basically kind of like the length of a lot of those DC animated movies, which are fantastic.
Yeah.
So think of it very much so like a live action, DC animated movie for Valiant.
Awesome.
So and I mean that in the sense that in terms of pacing, in terms of storytelling, because the DC animated projects, they're great. They're some of the best stuff out there, I think, of superhero content, and they stick really close to the comic books. Obviously, the movies have to be a little more broad in terms of who they're appealing to, whereas the animations, they go right to the fans, and I think that's why the fans like those almost more in a way that because they're more receptive to them, and that's a lot of what this project is. I mean, obviously anyone can watch it. I mean, my mom watched it and loved it, understood it, but as far as Valiant fans, there's so much in there just for them that I think they'll really get a big kick on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear you compare it to the DC cartoons because those are amazing.
I have a question real quick.
Those are great. I mean, I love Under the Red Hood. I love Batman, Return of the Joker, and Phantasm. They're all great. So I'm a huge comic book fan. So we could have live Skype. You could see my room, which is what I'm in right now. I'm surrounded by statues and comic books and action figures. So no one would ever question whether I like superheroes or not.
What were you saying, Josh?
Well, I had a question, and my question was, when this whole thing started, who came up with the idea for the story of this?
The story idea was, I didn't take credit for things because I always forget, and then I just end up saying, I don't know. But I would say it would be me only because at the time when Josh Johns approached me, they wanted to do a beatdown with the Valiant characters, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to tell a narrative story. I thought that would be great for Valiant, and a lot of people didn't know the characters. I think that was a lot cooler, and Josh loved the idea. He was real receptive, and Valiant approached us because of how well we translate the characters to live action, and obviously how well received our beatdown series was, and so that's kind of how it all started. But I wanted to do something that actually had narratives. You could really feel it. You could really dive into the characters, and there's a ton of dialogue in this film. I mean, if you watch the beatdown, there's obviously a lot of just the setup of the fighting. But in this film, I mean, there's one episode where there's no fighting at all. It's just all intense dialogue, So I think that's kind of I think that allows the characters to be a little more rich in their context. I think if you just watch fighting, that's cool, obviously. But I think you want to know, you want to know the characters. I can watch any character that I love, whether he's fictional or realistic. Just talk about his viewpoints. I mean, heck, that's what all movie Lincoln's about. It's just Lincoln's viewpoints. But I really enjoy Lincoln, so I like hearing him speak and talk about, the Constitution, all that kind of stuff. So if you love ninja
Yeah, absolutely. But that brings me to another question that I really wanted to ask you, and this has been killing me for a long time. You know, as much as I'm so excited to see this, the Valiant universe on screen, I'm wondering if you guys would ever do, one of the beatdown videos with like a Valiant character and a character from a different universe. That would be um, I think that's something that we'd all love to see, like Bloodshot versus Batman or Ninjak versus whoever. I mean, I think that that would be amazing.
That would be cool. You know, it never really crossed my mind. I just was just trying to do the series and then see what the future holds. Honestly, I haven't really thought about that. I have some fans have asked about it, but I keep trying to keep one track minded when working on a project. You know,
Sure.
but that'd be cool. But Batman would beat everyone though. Let's just get that out of the way though. Fans all the time.
I mean, I don't want to go too hard on this, but I'm pretty sure that he lost to Darth Vader, didn't he?
Well, that was the first version. The correct version was re-released after.
See, I thought that the second one was the correct one too, but
At the end of the day, I always say that it's just all fictional BS. I mean, like, you can't, you think maybe, comics they change like the wind. I mean, they reboot them every 2 years, so who's to say,
fair enough.
But, I mean, I personally like Batman where he's more just detective oriented and dealing with, like, regular people. I'm not a big fan of him fighting Darkseid.
Sure.
But this is a Valiant conversation, not a DC conversation.
I know, but that's always killed me because as much as I love Valiant, I'm also a Batman fan. So
come on, Eric, stick to the script. Okay, come on.
Well, you're the question master, Josh. You got.
Oh, I would.
As Armstrong.
So I do have another question.
Sure.
Okay, so I know that in the trailer, if you look a little closely, there was a few little Easter eggs that were kind of sprinkled in there. Like if there was like someone opening a drawer and there's a piece of paper that says like, "Who is Savage?" And I know Savage doesn't really come up in the comic book, but a lot of people picked up on that little thing. Like, oh, they're making references to other things outside of like what the story could be. Are there any other like little Easter eggs that the hardcore fans might find within the series?
There are. I'm trying to think if they are actually without giving them away.
And I know I mean, we're so close to this coming out. You don't have to spoil anything if you don't wish to.
Oh, he's just saying you don't have to spoil anything since we're so close. But
yeah, I mean, we definitely put a lot of little things in there, things that you might. Easter eggs are just interesting character moments that you have, interactions that you reflect on, like one like an interesting. This isn't really an Easter egg, but it's kind of interesting though. Like all the characters fight in the story, right? Or throughout the arc of the whole thing. And we made it so when Ninjak fights Exo that it takes place in a forest, because as you know, that in Exo issue 5, that's where we first are reintroduced to. Is it 5 or 4? I forget. But when they reissued it, that's where we first meet Ninjak, and that's when Ninjak first meets Exo in the forest. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a lot of little homages to that, like stuff like that you kind of reflect back on. Does that count? Does that help?
Yes, I would say it does. That's awesome that you were keeping in mind little details like that from the comic to, help shape the way that this story goes. One thing that I was really curious about was how the casting process went. I mean, were there characters that you immediately knew who you were going to approach, or was it all just kind of, ask people to audition and see what feels right, or how did you guys approach that?
Well, luckily, I mean, I know a lot of having worked in stunts and all that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of worked with a lot of cool people and stunt guys and everything like that. So a lot of that kind of fell in. I knew most everyone, and a lot of my like Mike Rowe, we wanted to work with him for a while. And then when
could see it.
A blast to do, but it's so hard to direct and act in it.
Sure.
And they just would have been too hard. And Mike did a fantastic job. He did much better than I could have ever done. So it was great. He brought so much to the character that I would not have, that I already could bring from directing, you know. So I just, like with Jason, JDF, you know, he's great as Bloodshot, you know. I think fans are going to fall in love with him. He's a badass, and he's just an unstoppable machine. And then, you know, you get Derek Steeler as Exo, and you have John Morrison or John Hennigan as Eternal Warrior. So there's a lot of, like, you know, a lot of really cool casting in it. And then what's big for me is that I wanted them all to look like superheroes. You know, when they walk around a convention, they look like a sports team more than, you know, like superheroes. So that was important. And then of course they had the attitude of it because they're all actors. So it was I don't know if that answers your question, but I can't wait for you to see it. I think you'll really like them.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we've seen so far looks, I mean, from the pictures of John Hennigan as Galad and Derek Thieler as Exo to the little bit of footage we've seen with, you know, Michael Rowe and, you know, JDF. Yeah, I think that you guys did a really good job. And that's kind of why I was curious if there was, you know, like if you knew right away that JDF was the guy that you were going to go to for Bloodshot, or if you know, kind of had to find him, you know. I guess I was just curious what that, how difficult that process was, or if it just was like.
Right away, I mean, I should have taught myself on casting, and I knew that certain people would be really good, and Valiant was really receptive to it. You know, I did Jason for Bloodshot, and they loved it. And one of the funny things I showed them, I wanted Kevin for Armstrong, and they only knew Kevin from the Batman stuff they've done, and they were very unsure about Kevin being Armstrong. You know, Armstrong was loud, very loud, boisterous, you know,
Sure.
And you know, you watch Kevin as Batman, you know, he's not that at all. He's dark, brooding, you know, Batman. But what's funny though is I was talking about, like, if you just hang out with Kevin, that's how Kevin is. Kevin is really loud, boisterous, and fun, and nice, and talkative. You know, it's always funny when people meet Kevin at conventions, because they're like, "Oh, you're so much nicer and warmer than I thought you'd be." And my response to that is, like, "Well, he's not actually Batman, though." You know, so I don't know. That could be a jerk to you. Like at a convention, so he's a really nice person. So, and you think Armstrong's great, and then they love him and they want to, you know, have more commitment to him and stuff like that. So, it just all depends, you know.
Sure.
But that was another thing that we tried to incorporate as much of the, like, if you look at their costumes are almost exactly as they are in the comic books.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that they look like it. I mean, you know, sometimes you look at drawings, you know, think like, "Man, they drew your likeness," but I was like, "No, this drawing came out like years ago. This is how the character looks, and they just look like it." You know, the first that we probably updated the most is probably Ninjax, just because we wanted to make it really functional, and we made them. You know, you change a few things, but you try not to change a lot. One of the ideas that our costume designer Brian Horton. And if you're not familiar with Brian's work, he did the posters for Force Awakens, the main Force Awakens poster. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 poster, and he's done a bunch of other stuff. Those are the two big things you've heard of. But he went through and kind of designed Ninjax outfit, and we sat down and had multiple conversations about it. But one of the cool things he added, though, and I thought this was really cool, and he created a whole backstory, which is not in the film at all. But basically, if you look at Ninjax, is whatever it's called, the leather piece that hangs between his legs. What is that called? There's a word for it now, I'm forgetting it. But anyways, in the comic book, they're gold circles. You know, they have like 3 or 4 gold circles on there.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian made it so that they're actually the hand guards on swords. So if you take basically the blade and the handle off the sword, you have that circle. And basically what it is that those are part of the 7 assassins that Ninjak went around and killed, and he took their sword, symbolizing that he now wears it as an honor piece on his costume, which is very big in the samurai ninja world. So that's, like, you try to find realistic interpretations of art, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a really changing the comic books, but then in a way honoring the comic books. You know.
I totally agree. That sounds cool. Um, one of the questions we're getting on the live chat here was this isn't necessarily Ninjak versus related, but since you've put so much work into these characters, and now we're getting, information about Vin Diesel playing Bloodshot in the movie version, do you have any thoughts on his casting?
I mean, I think Vin would be great. I like him as an actor. I mean, I think he'd be cool. I hope it does well. Obviously, I know Valiant's putting everything into it. So I know there's a big right now debate between Vin Diesel and Jason for who's the better Bloodshot. Which, of course, I would say JDF, of course. But I beat Vin Diesel.
He's the first.
I do know who's winning the fight though, and that is JDF. He is a badass. He is 8-0 in MMA.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, that's
He's the real deal, man. He's the real deal. Badass. The real deal.
for sure. I want there. I don't know how you feel about it. I want there to be a conversation about which one's the best one, because the louder the conversation is, the more people hear about it, and we'll check out both versions and see what they think about it. But yeah, I mean, JDF being the first Bloodshot on screen kind of gives him a little bit of the first shot at being the nostalgia Bloodshot,
Oh yeah, he's the first. Yeah, I mean, no one can take that away from him. I mean, he's the first, and everyone in this is the first. So years when they make a Ninjak movie or whatever, they can point it back and be like, they're the first. They would be the Adam West, of it.
Was there that kind of
They're technically working with Adam before Adam West, but he just remembered as being the number one.
Was there like a did any of the actors, as you were working with them, kind of take a step back and look at that? But because I mean, this is the very first time that any of these characters are ever going to be seen on a screen, especially in motion, not only in motion but live action. And so they kind of get to decide, because so many people look at the Michael Keaton or later Batmans and they say, well, that's not what I remember from Adam West, so it's not my Batman, and I guess I just wonder if any of the actors were, cognizant that this is an opportunity for them to kind of, show fans what these characters can be on screen.
I know they're really excited about it. They're the first incarnations. I know Valiant sent them a ton of books. They read like a bunch of comic books, and they took a big pride. If you look at Derek's plate, he's got EXO posters and different kind of paraphernalia there, which is kind of cool. So they really took a big liking and pride in these characters. It's not just a job for them, So there's a lot of love and pride. They want to make sure it translates. They know the Valiant fans are so diehard. They're so hardcore. I think that's great that the Valiant fans are such a tight-knit group.
Yeah, we get pretty rabid about. We tend to go pretty crazy. So one question that I also got here was whether there's any chance that we'll get a Stan Lee-esque cameo from anybody in the series, whether that's Dinesh or Jim Shooter or one of the people that we look at as being at the forefront of the Valiant history.
We tried so hard to get Josh and Dinesh to be in it, and we just didn't work out. That was when we tried. If I somehow managed to sneak them in there, but I don't think we did. Gosh, me and my dad, we cameo in it.
Nice.
But that's about it, I think.
Superfan Dan Moeller was in there for a little bit, right? Sonic Dan. There was a clip of him being in the background or something like that in the trailer, I think.
Yeah, he's in there.
That's cool.
So I had another question. And trying to do choreography with people of different skill sets, like you have JDF, who's like a high level black belt. Some of these other guys that have worked with you have various levels of skill. Is it hard to do these kind of fight scenes when you have guys that are vastly that are more skilled than others?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, they're all skilled, which is great. That's the big thing because you work with actors and being that I have a background in stunts as well, it's kind of where I come from. And some people don't know how to fight, or they know how to fight. It's not even so much that it's coordinated. Like I'm always amazed when we would be on set and we'd have to pull an extra. This is back in the day. Another set, you pull extras and they would know how to throw a punch, and I was like baffled by that. I didn't know that was possible. I grew up playing sports, so coordination I thought was inherent. But the good thing about all our guys is that they are all very coordinated. They all come from a background of sports, and they even really surprised us. I mean, Mike was really good. We worked with our fight coordinator, which is Alvin Singh, and he just got off of Luke Cage. He was the fight coordinator on Luke Cage. So, and he does all our stuff usually, and he's great. And the big thing about him, he knows a lot of different styles, and I've articulated because how you move, how you speak, everything you do defines you. It's all building your character. I know this definitely because I do a lot of motion capture. I did the motion capture for Spider-Man, and he moves a certain way. When you look at him, there's a certain way that you may not inherently know, but when you watch, you're like, that's how Spider-Man walks, and just stands. Just like Spider-Man ordering a hot dog is different than like how we would order a hot dog. So movement is a big deal, and Alvin makes sure that each character has their own different fighting style and the way they move. When you watch the Archer and Armstrong fight versus Ninjak, all three of them have different fighting styles. Armstrong is big, strong, old-fashioned, burly the way he fights. Archer is very, he's very, I'm trying to think the exact word here, but he's very precise. He's very accurate. There's no wasted energy. Tight, small little moves. And then Ninjak, he's one that has to adapt, and he has a bunch of obviously different Asian fighting styles. Many within that. That's why I have to blanket it to say that there's so many that Alvin fused into his fighting style. And then also you see Ninjak he gets beat up through the series, so his fighting style kind of changed. They have to because he doesn't have the strength to keep up doing certain techniques. So just from a fighting aspect, I think the series would be super entertaining. And earlier I said there's an episode where there's no fighting, but I will say that there is a ton of fighting in the series. There's so much action in the series. You get crazy fights every episode, except for that one.
One of the things that we're going to be talking about, later in this episode, I don't know if you want to stick around for when we nerd out on the comics from this week, but one of the comics this week obviously was the last issue of the Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe comic adaptation. And I'm curious, I guess I don't know how much spoilers we want to go into even for the comics, because I know some people are waiting to see the series before they read the comic. But I'm just curious whether or not you've been following the comic, and if you have, how you feel, how well you think it, captures the spirit of what you were going for on screen.
It's really, I like it. I definitely read it beforehand. Some of the dialogue in there, obviously, I wrote. But it's really similar. It's funny to see how some lines are very, very similar and some things are different. But it's very, when you see the series, the live action series, you'll see how much of the comic book, obviously, how much of the series in the comic book or vice versa. The series came first, obviously, and then the comic was written afterwards.
Sure.
But you can see a lot of elements that are in there that translate. But it's really, really active though. And so if you read the comic book, you pretty much know how the story goes. Obviously, the live action film there's more detail in it because it's a film. Film has you have emotions and the face and the way you talk and all that kind of stuff. So the fights are a little longer, a little more elaborate, I think, in the live action series. So, but it's a good, I think there's more humor in the comic book, to be quite honest. Although we do incorporate humor in the series is a little more serious, I think. Not because that's a good or
So without getting into spoilers, I thought that the end of issue 4 put us in a place, and I'm assuming, like you said, the comic is really close to the series, so I'm assuming that the ending to the series will be similar. I felt that it put us in a place that left the door open for a sequel. How likely would you say, like, what are the chances that we could get a Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe #2 or some form of sequel through Bat in the Sun?
Well, that would all depend on Valiant, and now I guess DMG who owns Valiant.
Sure.
So you'd want to, you'd want to, I would say, email them, say you want more series, say you love the series. It's really it's all about the fans up for, they leaked Deadpool online, the short a couple years ago, and the fans loved it, and that's what got the movie made. So if the fans can chime in and email Valiant and DMG and cause enough of an uproar for the love of these characters, then it could happen. It's hard to tell. I never know. I mean, you always plan for it, but then we'll see.
I mean, is that something that you hope for, or how do you feel about that?
Oh no, that was always the plan when it was written. It's funny that we actually started on. I know that Valiant really wanted to do a series like this with Bloodshot and starring JDF a while back. That was a big thing for them. They wanted to do. So they're things change, and I know the Valiant's have a lot of changes, but that was something that was in the cards before. And I know they're really excited because they loved Jason in the role, and they loved the quality that we were delivering and stuff like that. So it's so hard to say when you're dealing with characters. It's not like a clear A to B sort of ratio. That's why it sounds kind of muddled what I'm saying, but that's how to go through that. That's kind of what you need to do. If that makes sense. We're trying to be as clear as possible while the system is kind of murky.
Sure. No, that's fair. So another question from a viewer is whether or not Bat in the Sun has, is this the first, feature length project that you guys have tackled?
Yeah. And this will be our first feature that we've done. So, and we're real proud of it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's everything I've seen so far looks like it's going to be great. We have heard that it's going to be released on comicbook.com, and I think that the Valiant Twitter posted today that it was going to be posted at 11 a.m. each day starting on Saturday. Do you know anything about like the format or venues where people will be able to watch it? Like, is it going to be on, your YouTube channel, or are there any other ways that people will be able to access this material?
Those are all great questions. As far as I know, I've just been so focused on getting the series done.
Sure.
Is that it'll be on comic.com. I found out just today that it will be at 11 a.m. I believe that comic.com has a very small exclusive window on the series. Like they'll have it for 10 days or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. So Valiant fans got to make sure to really watch it, to get in there and watch it. And where it'll live afterwards, I don't know. I definitely would, get the Valiant fans and want to see it and, get it to where I want you guys to go see it. That's the big thing. I want to live out there. We did it for you guys. Valiant did it for you guys. So definitely let them know that you still want it, wherever it is to watch, that it is easy to access and you guys can have it and all that kind of stuff, So, but it'll be on comic.com 11 a.m. on Saturday. That's correct. And then each episode will be released every day at 11, I think.
That's really exciting. Do you know, I mean, this probably isn't something that you even have a hand in, but a lot of people have been asking recently, and we just got one of the viewers asking whether there's any chance that we'll get a physical release, like a DVD or something that we could buy. I know one suggestion, Josh, my co-host, who's been uncharacteristically silent.
I've just been trying to find my way to get in,
But one thing that he had brought up was, what if like an option of like releasing the comic adaptation in a hardcover and having the back cover include a DVD or something like that. Like, do you know anything about the possibility of doing something along those lines, or is that, I know that you're.
So I suggested that. I think that's a wonderful option. I had suggested that. That I think that'd be great to release it as a. I know DC does that with a lot of their animated films.
Yeah.
And release it as a DVD and all that kind of stuff. I love that idea. It's not up to me, but what I would do is I would get, like I said, all the Valiant fans, get them all out there and just email Valiant and DMG and say, and just demand you want the movie. Just demand it. And Valiant's really good about listening to their fans, and that's why they made the series. And I would just do that. I think they're all good ideas. I think just, more fans, get 100,000 people up to do that. It'll happen.
Awesome. Well, I would love for that to be the case, to be able to, I'd probably buy extra copies and give them out, honestly. Yeah. Josh, do you have any other questions for Aaron?
Well, that was my last question, was going to be about like the DVD release, and then someone else already asked it. I don't know. I would ask him this: like, what's his favorite fight Ninjak has in the series?
What's your favorite fight that Ninjak has in the series, or just in the series in general? What was your favorite fight, either to watch or to film, or yeah?
Gosh, they're all really cool. They're all different. Each fight has it's not like you watch like the same kind of fight. They each have different elements, different powers, and fighting styles. I mean, Exo's fight is big and energy based, and then Bloodshot's fight with Ninjak is brutal and it's bloody, and then we even have like kind of like an aerial fight at one point, and we have all these other cool, interesting fights. So they're all really different. It's hard for me to say which one I like the best. I don't know. I'd love for the fans to hear. That's what I want to know. I want to know what you guys think is the best. I would love for one of my favorite things is when people watch the beatdown, they'll film themselves and they'll go like post reaction videos. And I want all the Valiant fans to do that and post reaction videos and see their excitement, because I can't tell you how much effort we put in and how much we kept in mind of all the Valiant fans. Because, like I said, I'm a superhero fan. I know what it's like to go to a superhero movie and not be satisfied and not be happy and feel like the filmmakers just didn't really care about these characters. And that is 100% not the case with this film. Like I've read everything Valiant. I've known all these stuff. So we tried so hard to be accurate to the characters. So I really want to hear what you guys think. So post those reaction videos, and I watch them.
Well, obviously, I haven't seen any of the series yet, but I'm going to go ahead and say the Bloodshot fight is the best one.
It could be. It's brutal, man. It's brutal.
Yeah.
So I want to hear all your guys' thoughts. I want you guys to post long reviews, good and bad. Be honest. Discuss the series.
Well, I can guarantee you with 100% certainty that Josh and I will spend a lot of time on future episodes talking about how we feel about the series.
Yeah. And I was at WonderCon. I saw the footage of Exo versus Ninjak, and
you guys can call me back in. We can talk about it after the series. You can answer some stuff. So.
Well, that's an awesome offer. I'm sure that the people watching and listening to this, either now or later, would like the opportunity to chat with you about it after we've seen it too. So yeah, we'll have to take you up on that.
I'd be happy. I'd be more happy to do that.
And we'll get shirt working that time.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to make sure everything works that time.
Yeah, I apologize.
No,
we're
that's
definitely
not your fault.
Blame on you. Yeah, and I know that Outright Geekery, the website that we're associated with, is going to be doing written reviews of the series. Like I said, we'll do big reviews on this, future episodes of the podcast. But I don't want to keep you all night. Is there anything else that you want to say to the fans, or anything else that we should know or keep in mind when we as we lay awake at night waiting for 11 o'clock on Saturday?
Yeah, just enjoy it. Make sure to watch it right away. Like I said, it's going to be on comicbook.com for a limited time, so I want to make sure everyone sees it. And really, everything, is a snowball effect. So if you guys can get the energy behind it, if you think the film is worthy enough to be, to do that, then really, really chant, get those loud chants going for the project and for Valiant and stuff like that. So we can make a sequel, so the series can live on, all that good stuff.
Yeah, when you mentioned that there had been an idea to potentially do a JDF Bloodshot series, if that could still happen someday, that would be. I mean, Bloodshot is my personal favorite character in all of comics. So for me, that would be an absolute dream come true. So yeah, anything that we can do to help promote Bat in the Sun, help promote the series, help promote Valiant, yeah, we're definitely on board. And I know that that's true of pretty much every Valiant fan. We do what we can to support the company.
I appreciate that. JDS appreciates that. Valiant appreciates that. And other Valiant fans appreciate that. But yeah, Jason's Bloodshot is freaking awesome. And there's a part in the sequence when Jason, the music's blaring. My dad wrote his own theme for Bloodshot. He has his own music theme, and it's going. And Bloodshot has his hands wrapped around Ninjak's neck, and Jason has just this intensity with red glowing eyes. It's cool, man. It's cool. I think you're gonna get a big kick out of it. And if you want, and it's the series follows the comic book. So the second episode will be the Bloodshot episode. I will say, spoilers. If you read the comic book, at the very end of the first issue, there's like one little panel for each introduction of the characters. I don't know if you remember that from the first comic. Where we just see Bloodshot and see sort of. But in the series, the live action series, though, each one of those panels is like a minute and a half sequence. So you get a lot of the characters right away.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
Awesome. Well.
And see if you can find me. See if you can find my cameo in it. I'm in there somewhere.
Oh, we'll be watching enough times that I'm sure that we'll have frame by frame memorized.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear you guys review. I'll be back on here. We can talk more about it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you again on behalf of Josh and myself, on behalf of all of our viewers and listeners. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to chat with us and help us get even more excited for Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe.
Cool. Yes, definitely.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your night.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
That went pretty good for not being able to get him on.
Yeah, and for you never talking, what's the deal, dude?
Well, it was really hard because I would try to talk and I would try to signal you, and you would just keep talking, and I was like, okay. And I almost started typing. I started typing questions in the chat, but my phone would not put them up, or my iPad.
So but you were going to get your questions.
I kept trying to wave at you to be like, "Hey, I've got questions."
I saw you doing that, but when there was a lull, you wouldn't jump in. I blame this all on you. It was not my fault.
Fuck you, Eric. No, it's cool. I think it went pretty well, especially since we tried forever to get his browser working, and that's what the hang up was for anybody watching and listening. Is we started this process 5 minutes before we went live. And just it was not working.
Well, I had actually been chatting with him a little bit, and then I got him on the phone, and yeah. Oh well, but either way, I think it's really awesome that he was a good sport and still was willing to do the.
I could hear him, so I hope when the podcast episode comes out, I hope you can hear. For people who listen, just try really hard, turn it up really loud.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. That was great, and I think that he said some really important things there. For instance. We as fans, if we like this product, we need to be vocal about it with Valiant and be like, hey, we like it, do some more stuff like this, give us a physical release of it. Just some things like that to show that, we do like it. If we like it, I imagine I will.
If it's anything like the comic, which it sounds like he said it was pretty close, and based on his descriptions, it sounds like it's going to be even better than the comic. Then I know that I'm going to be a massive fan of it. We'll obviously get into talking about Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe #4 in a little while here, but yeah, I've been a fan of the comic series since it started, and yeah, so if the live action series is that good, I'll be jacked.
The portion of the show where Josh doesn't shut up, huh? Yeah, yeah. I can't help it, you know.
I am a big talker. I will agree and give Josh a little bit of credit there. I can be tough to barge in on sometimes.
Well, but the thing was, I thought that like you did a really good job keeping the conversation going, and that's what's important with this kind of thing. And plus, I mean, like, and I apologize to the fans too. Like, we've been working on this all week, had no idea until like maybe like an hour ago or 2 hours ago that this was actually going to happen. So we had like no time to really like promote this, which sucked.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, again, we can't thank Aaron enough for coming on.
Yeah.
I love that he offered to come back after we've seen the series. So hopefully either next week or the week after. So either our next episode or the one after that. Actually, next episode would be cool because isn't this number 79? So
This is
episode
79.
80. Yeah, so episode 80, if we're able to get him on, should theoretically be on the day the last episode drops on comicbook.com. So maybe that'll be a good chance to bring him back on and talk again. But
or maybe
so
I mean
now,
we might just be having a long episode talking about the entire series because I mean,
oh my God, though.
Probably have seen it all by then.
Yeah, I will be going absolutely crazy. I mean, it is 100% guaranteed that, well, I'll say 95% guaranteed that I'm gonna be losing my mind when I finally get to see this stuff because, yeah, I've just been so excited about it.
Yeah,
And like I
it's been
said,
such a long wait, you know, like since New York, like 2 years ago, and
a year and a
I mean,
half. So
even the footage I saw was only like I probably only saw like 4 minutes of the show, like when I was in WonderCon, two different scenes. So, but it'll be exciting. Next week we'll talk about it. Hey, you know, real quick, if we want to, I don't know how you want to do this, but we do have our copy of Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe to give away to somebody in the chat.
Are you talking about the game?
The game, yes.
Yeah, we're giving away a card game.
The people from Overworld Games will gladly mail this to you if you send me your information.
Yeah, so anybody watching or listening, actually some people have been leaving, and they're leaving before the giveaway, which means that everybody in the chat right now has an amazing chance. I'm going to type in the chat. And a free... So, I know William obviously wants a card game. I don't know if Henry wants to be entered in or if he's going to bow out like he did last time. Jason Falter is in here, and he's saying that he actually likes the Ninjak versus version of Ninjak's suit better than the one in the comic. And the only reason that I would have any argument to that statement, because I do love Michael Rowe's Ninjak suit, but in the comics, we also get different versions, like in the most recent issue of Ninja K, when he had that like crazy ass suit on and he was like jumping out of the plane and all that stuff. I doubt that they're going to be able to do that in this live action series. So, I mean, that alone is one of the reasons, why I'm so excited about the live series and getting to see it.
Yeah, I always think that shot early on in the trailer where it pans up from like the bottom of his suit all the way up. Yeah. You just see like the talent of whoever made that suit. Like it's not like some cheap cosplay suit, or just like a bunch of spandex. Like that's some like real work there.
So it looks like potentially William and Jason are the only two people entering to win this free card game.
I know people keep popping in and out. It's crazy. Henry's a good dude. He always bows out, and he's always looking out for us too.
Yeah, Henry was the one that helped us get this whole thing set up with Aaron coming on. So really happy that was able to work. But I may just go to list randomizer and put in those two names. William and Jason seem to be the only ones, unless Jason isn't interested in winning the game, because I don't know. if he's still
Is he still in the
commenting.
chat?
What's that?
Well, is he still left in the chat?
He commented recently that he likes the suit better in the series than in the comics.
Oh, he said
there he is. Yeah, he's still there. Cool. So it's between the two of them pretty much at this point. So anybody else wants to get in, you better pipe up real quick before I get to my randomizer here. Because
before you get randomized.
I'm gonna randomize the shit out of your names. So we've got William and Jason. So I'm gonna hit randomize a few times. But you got a 50-50 shot, guys. That's pretty good because Henry is not is willing to bow out, and it looks like David isn't really interested in the card game because that's not really his thing. So, all right, I'm going to press the randomize button twice, and whoever's name is on top is going to be the winner. So there, I pressed it once, and one more time, and the winner of the Nimjack versus the Valiant Universe card game shipped to you free from Overworld Games. And I'm trying to think of other ways to drag this out and make it as suspenseful as possible. You know, maybe since we've already decided the winner, we should go ahead and review the comics and then we can.
Oh, that is cruel. That is very cruel of you to do that way.
I'm not quite that mean. The winner of the free card game from Overworld Games is William Pace. You have officially won. And if you message Josh, get him your information. Overworld Games will ship the card game to you. I had to buy my copy, so
as did I. As did a lot of us, damn it.
Yeah.
But no, that's okay.
I got that super sweet card though, the Boon card.
Yeah. So, hey, William, if you can, send me a message on Facebook, give me your address, and I'll send that over to the people at Overworld Games, and they'll get that out to you.
Awesome. I love giving stuff away. That's so fun.
I know we're out of stuff to give away for now.
For the moment.
I might have some other things up my sleeve, so just stay tuned, people, for a couple future episodes.
I've genuinely thought about like rooting through my collection and seeing if I've got anything that I wouldn't mind parting with and putting it up.
Well, next weekend is the Wasatch Comic-Con in my neck of the woods.
Oh, sure.
And they just announced, as we have been on the air, that they're going to have an exclusive Harbinger Wars 2 cover.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And since
so
I feel like
a copy is what you're saying.
I might be able to get a couple copies, and maybe we can just give away one or two of those on a future episode. So, we like doing that stuff. It's fun. I like to think that I package things very well so they get to people in one piece. So we'll see what we can do about that,
Yeah.
I think I shared the cover on our Facebook page while we've been doing this. So.
Oh, you posted it?
Anyway, we should probably move on to our reviews at this point.
Yeah, we can talk reviews. So the two books that we have to talk about, Quantum and Woody #5, Nimjack versus the Valiant Universe #4. I figure we can go in that order unless you have a different preference, Josh. Just fine with you. Cool. Yep. So we are going to get into spoilers. I don't know how much spoilers we'll get into, but we will talk about these comics without any regard for whether or not you've read them. So since it's Thursday, hopefully you have read them. But yeah, so I love these foil covers so much. So I
have the same foil cover too. And I didn't realize until like before we came on, I must not have looked at this very well, but Quantum and Woody are both naked, on the cover.
They're butt ass naked. Absolutely.
No dicks touching, but they're naked.
Well, that would be weird. They're brothers. Come on.
It's okay.
I mean, I don't have any brothers, but I just assume that you probably wouldn't be
I might as well not.
Space docking with your brothers.
Docking. And we're not talking like Docking the band, okay? We're talking some different shit. If you're rocking with that kind of
I wouldn't listen to Docking with my brothers either. So Here's the biggest downside of this issue for me is the fact that this is the end of Daniel Kibblesmith's run, and I am bummed about that. I love when a writer can maintain a long term run on a book. On the other hand, though, I honestly have not enjoyed his run as much as I hope to. I love Quantum and Woody as characters. There's so much awesome stuff that can be done with them, and I just feel like in a few different ways, this arc has not quite lived up to what I hoped it would be, um, or like the level of humor and quality that I expect from Quantum and Woody. So, and I'm also a big fan of Elliot Rahal. So, those things make me not happy Daniel Kibblesmith is leaving because I'd love to see where he would take the characters next. But I am happy that Elliot, a writer that I respect and look up to, I'm definitely interested to see what direction he takes the characters, and yeah, can't wait to see it.
I thought this was a pretty good issue. I've liked Kibblesmith's run, and but I think to me the thing I really enjoyed the most about it has been Kano's art.
It's been so good.
Yeah, not to take anything away from like what Daniel's written, but like, I mean, the visuals on this book are just so crazy good. The layouts are so awesome. I just don't feel like anybody does this kind of like level of work, you know. And I think it's funny. Like, I think when I went to the Valiant panel at WonderCon, they made jokes about getting paid by the panel, like some of these artists. And it's like if that's the case, man, Kano would just be like rolling in dough because I mean, there's so much different panel work here.
Oh, it's like David LaFuente, right? When he was doing A&A.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the same thing. He would have a billion different panels on the same page. But yeah, I noticed a couple of the pages here that were like 24 panels on a page. That's crazy. Yeah, like William is saying that, he feels Daniel Kibblesmith was good on the run. And the first two issues were strong, but then it kind of petered out after that. And as much as I have enjoyed it, I would tend to agree with that. I thought the first couple issues were stronger.
I was looking at it the other day, and I think if you just remove that third issue, the storyline's way stronger. I mean, like to me, I just think like it just took something out of the sails of the story when the story was going along great, and then it's like, hey, by the way, we're gonna go with something different for one issue, and then boom, in a month you'll get the rest of the story. Like I think that took the wind out of the sails to me. But I've liked the story. Like I mean, but I do think that like you can't do something like that, especially with something like a property like this where you have like a divided fan base who like it and like half that don't. So if you sit there and you make it so that you're causing some kind of interruption to the things that people like about it, it just gets back to that vocal minority of like, well, we hate this book, we hate these characters. And I mean, and the thing is, like that issue 50, I guess that would have been like the 50th issue of Quantum and Woody, has been my least favorite issue of this whole run so far. But I liked it. I mean, so I mean, for me, it's a little hard to be like, well, it petered out. I just think it had the issue placement in the wrong way. Kind of like how like Harbinger Renegade had like Massacre, and then it's like, hey, here's the Alpha who you may or may not ever see again, and then here's like these other issues, and then there's a Zero issue. I think Valiant sometimes like just can't wait to like muck things up a little bit like that with like the structure of a story. But I thought this was good. I loved when the hedge guy, Thedge the Hedge, ate the kid.
That was pretty awesome. Well, one thing I was going to say is, I think that the strongest thing about the last issue was Kid Tesla and the way that he was introduced, all the fun banter we got with him, with Woody. And I thought that there was a lot of fun there. And I just didn't feel like this book had something to rely on like that. It didn't really have, a character or a big event that really felt like it held the book together. This one has big events. There's explosions and there's fighting and there's some fun stuff going on. There's some flashbacks that give us some more insight into both not only Quantum and Woody, but also some side characters, like -1. But I just didn't feel like it had that shining centerpiece that Kid Tesla was for issue 4.
Yeah. I mean, we can agree to disagree on that. I really like this issue. I think to me, like, the thing that would be smart with Valiant is when this is collected, don't collect it in order. Just collect it with, like, that issue 3 at the back end.
Put it
'Cause
last.
the story just
Or
makes a
even
lot
first. Even put that issue first, right? Because it would perfectly follow from where the series ended previously.
Yeah.
And then you could jump into the new story.
Yeah. But I'd actually still give this a pretty high score. I mean, like, I like this issue. I'd probably go about a 4.25 on it, actually, just because I do still
Really?
like. Yeah, I like this. I like the storyline, and I like Quantum and Woody still. I've liked, I think, everything that's been written of them. But I thought this was a great issue. I mean, I still enjoyed it quite a bit, and I mean, Kano's art alone. I mean, it's just. I mean, these issues are going to be worth getting just to look at, just to see, like, what somebody with a little bit of experience can do. Like, what if you were like an aspiring penciler? I think these would be great issues to look at. To be like, hey, these are the different things that you can do with the page.
Sure.
To really, like, to tell a tale. So
Yeah, and there were some really fun moments in here, and I'm not trying to take anything away or be a downer, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as you did. There were some moments that I really loved, and I don't dislike the art. I think that both the lines and the coloring have been just phenomenal. I think that it is a really, really good tone for these characters, and for the story being told here. But my score, like I said, would come in a bit lower. I'm going to be at a 3.5. I did enjoy the story. I'm not by any means saying it's bad because that's still a positive score. It just it left a lot to be desired for me. I think that in that first issue, maybe the second, there were some moments where I was laughing out loud while I was reading it. But to have, like, oh, probably the third issue too, now that I think about it. But to have at least 2 issues in a row that really don't get an audible chuckle out of me, that's tough to swallow for Quantum and Woody. One of the reasons I love, because I have a hard time accepting comedy in comic books. I can't do it in novels, and I really can't do it in comic books either. And so the fact that I love this comic book that is so based on comedy is, honestly, I surprised myself by enjoying it, like the Asmus run as much as I did. But one of the reasons that I loved it is I didn't feel that the comedy fell flat. I felt like it really landed. And while there's a lot of good humor in here that definitely lands, I just don't think that it quite got to the level of the humor that was in the Asmus run. And maybe I'm spending too much time comparing it. That could be the case.
The thing is, though, that I think is good about this, though, is that I think a lot of times, and just so people who listen know, Eric and I don't give our scores until, like, the moment we give them. Like, I don't ever know what Eric's score is on anything. And if you've been a listener for a long time, you know that Eric and I, we're always really close, like, on books. Like, Eric might be like, I give this a 4, and I'll be like, oh, I'm a 3.75 or a 4.25. Like, we're usually not too far off, but I think it's okay to be, like, a little bit off. Like, we both don't have to have the same experience with the book. But generally, we're usually pretty close. So this will be one of those weird moments where, like, the Matrix is broken and we didn't feel the same.
But that brings us, well, for Quantum and Woody now, moving forward, Elliot Rahal is taking over as the writer, and we're also getting
a little bit of a Harbor Wars 2 thing going on, too.
2 issues with Francis Portela that will tie into Harbinger Wars 2. And then after that, we found out that we're getting Elliot Rahal working with Joe Eisma. And that's something I think we talked a little bit about on the last episode. But I'm really excited for that. I like Joe Eisma a lot as an artist. And obviously, like I said before, I like Elliot as a writer. So I'm really excited to see them work together with these characters. But yeah, so we can move into the other issue that we have to talk about here, Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, number 4.
Versus the Valiant Universe.
Yeah, that's the same cover that I've got. I think it's just the A cover, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't really even look. Yeah, just the A cover. Which is a really cool cover. I was sitting there staring at this the whole time we were talking to Aaron, and Yeah, this is a really cool cover. Um, but yeah, what did you think about this issue, the finale of the comic adaptation of Ninjak Versus?
I thought it was pretty good, man. Like the thing that's been hard about reading this series is that when it started, when we first got these issues, like with the first issue, I had zero desire to read it. I was like, oh, I'm so tired of hearing about this stupid thing that's never going to come out. And then I was surprised by how much I liked it. And now as like the news has come that like we're gonna finally get to see it. Now we're so close to see it. We're like days away. That I'm just like, God, like I thought they like stuck the landing pretty well, you know? Like it was a really fun issue. The thing that's been great about the last two issues of this series has been that there's been a lot of action. So I felt like this issue really ramped it up. We had a good ending. I don't want to say anything about the ending about this though. Like
Really? We already warned people about spoilers.
well, here's the thing. I feel like I would rather see it play out like on the inner. Like I'm sure people have read it. I guess. So fuck it. I mean, the very end thing with like Roku and Master Dark. Like I mean, I feel like people call that online. Not me, but like I heard people say like, I bet this is what happens. I bet they leave it open ended where Master Dark shows up. I thought that's like some good like foregone conclusions right there with some people, man. Like hell yeah, people who thought that, way to go. You know, you deserve an A+ for that. Um, but I like this. I thought it was good. You know, I thought the whole thing with like the airplane and Ninjak and Roku leaving, getting off the airplane, like that whole scene, I thought was really well done. Um, I'd kind of love to like talk with Elliot Rahal at some point. Like I know you did the interview with him. We should have him on at some point and talk with him. Like I'd love to know like how much like I take it he probably only just like converted this whole thing into like a different format really. But I thought like it was good. I mean, I'm excited for the show.
Yeah. Actually, talking to Aaron really ramped up my excitement level for the show because the way that he's talking about it, it just confirms the amount of love and attention that they put into creating the show and making it as good as it can be.
You
And
know, not to cut you off. I apologize for cutting you off on this, but I was just thinking like I know that you've been reading comics for like maybe like 5 or 6 years, 2011 maybe,
yeah,
and
2012, something like that.
so like in that time you don't get a lot of like film adaptations of like movies. Like when I was growing up, you got a shit ton of them, and they weren't really good. Even if you didn't see the movie, like even if you didn't watch that movie, you'd be like, oh, this Kroll like adaptation is not very good, or like whatever, you know
Isn't that
things
your
like
favorite movie?
Kroll. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I don't think I liked it. But anyway, my point being is though is that a lot of those books you'd read them and they'd have like really subpar art. They'd have like a decent writer attached to it, but it wouldn't be anything spectacular. And I felt like this is one of those things where it's an adaptation. The art's all right. It's not my favorite art. I mean, I've had my qualms with Joe Bennett's art,
Yeah,
but the story.
you've been a crapper on Joe Bennett in the past. And I remember when he did, what was it, like XO50 or something, that he did a
Did
story
Long
in
Live
that
the King, and I was
I think
bitching
we
then
were
too.
both I don't think either one of us were really stoked on that, but I think his art for this series has been exactly what it needed. I think that this is pretty much exactly the way this series should have been drawn.
Yeah,
I can't
but
imagine it being better drawn any other way.
yeah, but this has been a really fun comic book adaptation of like something that's going to be on like a movie or a TV show. So um, it was great. It had a lot of great moments. Roku was awesome in it. I'm really curious to see how they if the hair will look a little bit better than it did in the trailer because it wasn't that impressive in the trailer. But she didn't do a whole lot with it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are some reasonable limitations to what can be done on film with Roku's hair. Um, I think that if they had a $10 million budget or 20, $50 million budget, um, and the hair looked like that, I would probably be a little bit upset. But I think for what they're doing, um, basically pulling off a CW show style aesthetic with a lower budget,
Oh yeah,
I'm happy. I'm happy. Even if Roku's hair looks like it did in the trailer, I'll be okay with that. What really is going to sell this for me isn't necessarily even going to be the effects and all that. It's going to be the performances and the amount of love for the characters that comes through in the way that it's executed. And I feel like from talking with Aaron, the footage that we've seen and all that, I think that there's every reason to believe that that this is going to be really enjoyable. And I think that like we were saying with this being an adaptation, I do think that it's a really, really good. Of course, we have to see what the differences are between this and the series itself, but I mean, this was such a well done, not only just this issue, but the series in general. I thought it was such a, I mean, man, sometimes I'll have like, after I read something, I'll have in my head like, well, if that thing would have happened this way, or if they wouldn't have done this other thing, maybe it would have been better. I can't think of anything really with this that, for being the full universe, its own continuity, and a method of introducing these characters to people who've never heard of them before. Um, I really don't think that it could have been done better, honestly. To me, again, being as big of a fan of the art as I have been, which I know not everybody's going to agree with me on that, and people are allowed to be wrong, but I think that for me, this issue actually comes in. Um, I would put it at a 4.25. I think it's really strong. And this series, um, when the trade comes out, this is definitely something that I want to recommend to people who don't know about Valiant.
Oh yeah, like I think this is like a great like jumping on point for people who haven't really read these books. Because I think like the book The Valiant, that series was also a great thing that if you've never read the characters, you don't know anything about Valiant, it's a good place to kind of get an introduction. And that's another neat thing about this whole series. I'm gonna go a bit lower. My score is a 3.75. Um, Still a great book though. One thing that was kind of funny is I tried to buy the original art of that page where the where all the heroes bust in on like Ninjak and Roku.
Sure.
Like there's that page where like with Bloodshot, and that was up on eBay like a couple weeks ago, and I just totally spaced it. I was like, oh, that'd be such a cool page because I don't own any like original art from Valiant. Like I don't own any pages or anything, so I was like, oh, I want to get like something soon.
I would
But
love to buy some like Bloodshot pages or something like that, but yeah, it's always so expensive. I've never been able to justify it.
this is a bit off topic from I mean, we've already done our reviews, I guess, but like right now on eBay, there's pages of Diego Bernard's um, Gen Zero book, and his uninked pages, his pencils look so incredible. Like I was looking at him like, wow, like get him back. I mean, we always talked about how much we like Diego Bernard. So
I'm a
like,
huge Diego Bernard fan. His Exo book, his Exo arcs, his Exo books are whew, so awesome. So
yeah,
awesome.
that's a guy that I'm just like, I don't know what his budget is, but get him back, man. Like he's awesome. But his uninked work looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely would love to see more of him. Actually, he might actually been a good artist for something like this.
Yeah.
But
But I kind of in a way though understand like getting a guy like Joe Bennett who doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the universe, the regular Valiant universe. I mean, I think
sure.
he really only did Long Live the King. So having him do a book like this where it's like you're not used to seeing like maybe his versions of the characters already, I think it worked all right.
Yeah, it doesn't look like other books in the Valiant universe.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I was going to say is, as much as we were talking about this as a comic being a really good introduction to new fans, I think that it's going to work really, really well as assuming that the live action series is what Aaron described it as, and pretty close to the way the comic is. I think that the live action series will be a really, really good way to bring people into the comic universe because obviously watching something that's online and free to view is going to be a lot easier to convince someone to do than it would be to convince them to go out and buy a bunch of comics from a company they've never heard of or don't know about it with characters that they don't know. So I think that that's one of the really big potential benefits of this new series.
One thing I thought that came up this week online, I thought this was like a really interesting thing, is that like, Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe might be a lot of people's first introduction to Valiant.
Yeah, it
Because
hasn't
these
even
characters
come out yet, and that's already the case.
yeah, and so there might be the possibility of seeing like a bunch of new fans kind of like filter into the various groups. It's kind of exciting to know that like, I know Chris Amundsen made a post about it this week on Valiant Comic Fans, because he's an admin over there now, and it's like, he's really excited about the fact that like there might be an influx. There might be a bunch of people who are like, hey, we don't know anything about Valiant. We saw this series. Like, how can we find out more? And I think that's kind of a cool feeling. When I think about like all those like early books I've read that got me excited for it, even like the VEI books when I first read like Bloodshot and Harbinger and Exo, it's like it was an exciting time like back in 2012 when they relaunched the universe. So it'll be cool to see like if there are some people that show up. I mean, I know that like there have been a couple of people that popped up here and there because they're big fans of Jason David Frank.
Yeah.
That were like, I want to know more about Bloodshot. So this might be something where it's like they're not just wanting to know about Bloodshot, which if you just want to know about Bloodshot, that's cool, but it might just be like the whole universe, So it's exciting. It's exciting to be like that, where you can read all this stuff with fresh eyes. Never experience it.
Yeah, and I think that this being I think that as much as a lot of people complain about, what the future of Valiant looks like now that DMG is in control, I do think that as a new fan coming in during a new era of the company is a good thing. I mean, I feel like I was lucky that I kind of came into the Valiant comic community as there was a bit of creative changing of the guard. I mean, when VEI launched, it was pretty much Dysart, Van Lente, and Venditti that were kind of controlling the universe. Straczynski was writing Bloodshot, but I feel like Dysart kind of had the upper hand creatively, if that makes sense. In that Harbinger Wars, Bloodshot, the first few arcs were all about, leading into Harbinger Wars. And I feel like that was very much a Harbinger oriented event. So I think a lot of Bloodshot in those early days was kind of defined by what was going on in Harbinger. And in that way, I would say Dysart kind of had more control there. And then, like I said, the other two in control were Van Lente and Venditti. And the time that I got into the Valiant fan community was, reading The Valiant by Matt Kindt and Jeff Lemire. And that was around the time that was Lemire's first work in the Valiant universe. And that was around the time that Kindt was kind of gaining some steam and becoming more of a powerful creative force in the universe as well. And I think that was a really good time to come in and be able to not only go back and read the previous stuff, but also be able to see the universe being shaped by a new group of creators while I was a new reader. And knowing that we've got new people in editorial, potentially some new people on the creative side as well, I think that this is going to be a good time for people coming in from Ninjak Versus to really connect with the company and feel like they can identify with the changes happening in the company since they'll be new, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does. It's a whole new world than it was like when we both got into it, and
yeah.
But I mean, like I think about like this, like I think about like, every month I get like 6 books to read. Someone could show up and they have like 400 books to read.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that's just if you do the VEI stuff, man. Although if anyone who listens to this at a later date, if you're like, oh, I'm a new fan, I'm going to listen to Get Valiant, take it from me. You don't need to read any of the acclaimed stuff except for maybe like Quantum and Woody. You can skip that. You can skip those years. But man.
And you can take it from me, since I've never read the VH1 stuff. You don't need to read that either.
Oh, you got to read that. You got to read some of that, man.
I don't think so.
That's just because you don't want to, though.
True, but I'm still right.
But I think somebody could go right now, pick up the Unity issues. Shooter's big thing, and I still think people could pick that up for the first time and be like, "Wow, this is incredible stuff." That's just me. But anyway, we're probably about there,
Yeah, Hoosier just showed up, telling him he's a little late to the party.
Thanks, Hoosier.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really glad that we were able to, even though there were some technical difficulties, we were still able to get Aaron on and talk about Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. I'm so excited about what's coming next with the series coming out, and the possibility of bringing Aaron back on either next episode or some point in the future and chatting about the series after we've gotten a chance to see it.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to mention, for anybody interested, the next episode will also have 2 comic books that we can review, because the books coming out next week are going to be Shadow Man #2 and Exo Manowar #14. So Exo's finally coming back to Earth, and we finally get the second issue of this new Shadow Man run, and that's a perfect example of a new creator coming in and putting his own stamp on the Valiant universe. Shadow Man is a pretty important character, or can be a pretty important character, and Andy Diggle is jumping right into the Valiant universe head first.
Yeah, I'm way excited for the next issue of that, just because Shadow Man's history with Valiant since VEI, it's been a little dicey, but that first issue was great. Great first issue. Yep. Can't wait to see how they finish it up. And I feel like I've been waiting for issue 14 of Exo Manowar for like a long time, so that we can kind of see like the transition of like, just because he won't be on that fucking planet anymore.
I'm honestly waiting for Exo 19 because that's when the Barbarian arc is going to be done. I think it's 19.
You're already looking that far.
Oh yeah, I'm ready to be done with the Barbarian arc. I want Auric back on Earth as Exo Manowar, doing some crazy shit.
Shit. Okay, well, we'll have those next week. We'll talk about some Ninjak versus the Valiant universe. That's gonna be exciting, man.
Yeah, whether Aaron's on or not, we're gonna be going crazy about Ninjak versus. I think that what Aaron suggested is a really good idea. Anybody who's able, if you could film yourself while the first time that you watch each episode of Ninjak Versus, I think that they'd really appreciate seeing those reactions, and because that's what they've been working toward, right? I mean, not only Aaron, but his dad. You've got every single one of the actors. You've got people like Dinesh who are involved. There are a lot of people involved in the project who put a lot of time and effort into it. So that we would get a chance to see it. And I think that they would really appreciate being able to see our honest reactions to what they've created. And that's something that I'm going to try to remember to do that. I can't guarantee that I will, but I'll give it a shot.
Hey, I would just say this. I watched a ton of reaction videos to the trailer of Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe.
Same.
And people I didn't know, just people on the internet. And I was so entertained. So if you're on my friends list on Facebook and you film one, just tag me. I'll watch it. I love watching them. It seemed like everybody would get crazy when they see like Jason David Frank get shot, like in the head as bloodshot, and his head would close up. Like you'd always see people be like, "Oh, what?" Like just like so crazy.
The moment that they pan up on Ninjak's suit, that was a big moment in the reaction videos I saw. People were like, damn.
I hope there's a lot of reaction videos. I love watching them. I think they're hilarious. So do that, people, please.
Yeah, I would ask anybody who does do a reaction video to post it in the Get Valiant Facebook page, or link us to it on Twitter or Instagram or wherever else you find us. Even comment it on one of our YouTube videos. Because, we'd love to watch your reactions. I'll try to do my best to film my reactions. I'm really excited to see it, and I'll talk about it after we've seen it. But fun episode number 79. Next week will be number 80, and that's going to be pretty awesome that we're hitting episode 80 when we're going to get to finally talk about having seen Ninjak Versus. So
I know, because I think like episode 1 we were talking about the trailer. No, we weren't, but like we weren't really talking about it on the first episode. But it feels like
No, I can't imagine that we were. But anyway, thanks everybody. Hoosier's throwing out some crazy conspiracy theory about Auric having something to do with the Lost Eagles of Rome in Britannia #3, and I don't
take off the tinfoil.
Yeah, take off the tinfoil, Hoosier.
Go back to Branch Davidian with those crazy comments, Palooka.
Oh man. Well, thank you again, everybody who was participating with us live. Thank you again to Aaron. And we hope to see you all next week. Signing off, I'm Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun, and find us on all sorts of various internet places like Instagram now and Facebook and Twitter. Bye.
See ya.